Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable, and it would not be a Fixed Ops conference without the great John Traver, who has been such an advocate and a friend to the automotive community for so long. John Traver is the CEO of Traver Connect. John, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Ted, thanks for having us as always. I'm not sure about great, but I'm thankful to be here. How's that? Looking forward to our time together with our audience today.
John, we got a great theme at the event, the Roaring Twenties. I know you've got a lot to talk about in terms of retention. You are the expert in the field. You've done it for a long time. You see things from the front line, and I'm excited with what you're going to share today. So, if it's okay, I'm going to put those slides up and let you take it away.
Hey, Ted, that would be great. So, I got to thinking about the Roaring Twenties, and I'll be honest with you, the dress was my first hurdle. But as I thought about sort of bringing us all together on that one big R word we all know is so important, retention, it can be a noisy word. Well, fortunately, I had an experience recently that allowed me to land on one number, Ted, one number that got me thinking about retention. And of course, that one number got me thinking about two words that stand side by side like salt and pepper. And that's what I kind of want to share today. I want to get our dealer body thinking about retention in a way that is macro, it's on top. And, the thing is, the phones are ringing, the phones have been ringing. We talk about this all the time, but this is what we're going to talk about today is what happens after the phone rings and now they're here and what that has to do with retaining and getting another RO open on that same VIN. So recently, Ted, I I was due for service. I use this truck for ranch operations, kind of a separate business I have, and it's a 2020 F250 Limited. It's a wonderful truck. Ford builds a great product. Now, I'm busy, and so I tend to juggle maybe too much, right? This truck 2020 to 2021 only had 3,500 miles put on it. And I had the check engine oil, sitting there. So I was kicking that can, Ted, since last summer, right? And beautiful interior. Now, I'm not saying this for any other reason than I want you to see this is what it looked like when I delivered it to the dealership on the interior. I ran into a little snag, though. You'll see where I'm going in just a bit. Now, from 2021 to 2022, I all of a sudden had this light starting to pop up on my dash, Ted, service advanced track. And so, I could just kind of exit my way out of it normally, right? And well, more recently, in the last few months, it would move the truck into what they call limp mode, which meant the truck would decelerate, right? Like to 35 miles an hour or whatever. And so what I would do is I'd get to a stoplight, I'd put it in park, I'd turn it off, I'd open my door, I'd restart it. Again, Traver kicking the can down the road a little bit.
John, it sounds like I would do that.
Too much on our plate, So, okay, it's time to get this thing serviced, right? So I'm in search of the blue oval, right? I got to go find me a dealer. So, of course, Ted, if you're thinking I got to find a Ford dealer and I'm thinking I got to find a Ford, who do we think of first, Ted? Come on.
Ed Roberts. Yeah.
Who other than Ed, right? So Ed, brother, I was thinking of you, buddy. But remember, we're in limp mode, okay? And so, Ted, I started doing the math, right? And I'm thinking
it's a long drive, John. It's going to take a long time.
Ted, do you think I could still call Ed a friend? I mean, is this okay? Do I get a pass this one time? You know what I mean? I'm going, Ed, if it wasn't in limp mode, I'm not sure I could make that drive for service for a basic, maintenance and check engine light. But in limp mode, I hope Ed will understand. So there you go. So that meant I had to look for the blue oval and had to be local. I found someone within 8 miles of the house, and I found that little bit of time where I could go drop it off. And I had a short list. Of course, the lube oil filter was now 2 years due, and I had about 7,500 miles on the vehicle. It rotate and balance. Dave Boyle, I'm thinking of you, buddy. And we want to rotate and balance. It's the most expensive part of that vehicle. If you don't rotate those tires regularly, you're affecting other parts of that vehicle. So, and of course, cabin and engine air filters, I always try and get those touched. on intervals. And of course, we're going to fix that advanced track deal, right? So here's how the story unfolds. So this is, full disclosure, this is a picture of my dash, me in the drive. I always take a picture before I hand it off. And so I want you to see the 7,500 miles, like I said, 7490.4, right? The other thing, I'm going to lay my sword down in front of everybody and say, I'm the worst customer in the world because I'm giving you my truck with 33 miles to empty. Now, let me just say this quick. Ted, I'm 8 miles from my house. I didn't realize it was that low till I got there. It was a miracle that I even had time to get the truck there. One of the guys,
John, we have technicians on the roundtable who have talked about this topic of consumers dropping off their vehicles with almost empty. So anyway, it's not a best practice, John. But go ahead.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty, guys. I'm guilty. Marco is going to have his way with me, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, 33 miles to empty. But here's the thing. I mean, they're not really going to be driving it for drivability. It's getting the light off and it's light maintenance and no big deal. So I just want to say that up front. I wasn't expecting it to be full. So about a week goes by, Ted, and I hadn't heard from him. So my service advisor, his name is Buddy. So I reach out to Buddy and I was like, hey, Buddy, checking on the F-250 Limited, kind of jogging his brain, right? It's been a week. See if it's close to diagnostic tech and assume the rotate and the light service is done. I do need the truck for work this week, right? Ted, are you kind of surprised I'm actually screenshotting my text exchange?
It's one after another. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. We just, it's all out there. So he's like, okay, that was the first Monday. Tuesday, he responds, okay, all the maintenance is done, which meant, I don't know if they just did it then or what. But by the way, accidentally, it was assigned to maintenance, so it never got assigned to diagnostic. It got skipped, but we're going to skip in line. So I said, okay. So a little bit of customer experience stuff, right? So then the next day comes. See Wednesday there now, so that goes to Tuesday. Then hey, buddy, checking in. What happened? He said, hey, we found something under the pedal. There's this wiring issue. It's kind of rubbing, and that's what's making it do it. So it was a manufacturer defect. And he sends me a picture, which I thought was really smart because it's his way of saying, hey, I'm being honest with you. And I said, okay, buddy, thank you. Yes, sir. And then the next day, hey, truck is ready, sir. So we're kind of through it, right? So you remember I said one number and then 2 words. We're talking about retention. And this is all after, Ted, this is all after the phone rings. All after the phone rings. So it's checkout time. All right. And I pay the bill, $450 RO. Okay. I go to the service lane where my truck's waiting. And then, the one number, Ted, that I've been talking about. Okay. Yeah. So here it is. The one number shows up. The number, Ted, is 5. That's the number, as in miles till empty.
Ooh. So, you're not going to go very far. You can't get home.
So Ted, here's the thing. My truck's waiting and it's running. Thank you.
Wow.
So here's the deal. There's multiple types of customers. You got the 50-50 deal where it's like, some customers going to escalate. Some are just going to tell friends and family. Some won't ever complain. They'll just never come back. You got all that, right? And so, it's running. So I have to decide right here. I'm like, okay, do I turn it off? Do I go back in? Now I know this dealer.
Yeah.
I don't want to make a big scene. Okay, Traver, just go get fuel. So that was my decision. I was like, I'll just wear it. But here's the thing. This is happening today somewhere else. And that customer has the same moment of truth. They got to decide, Ted. They got to decide what they're going to do. And if they're driving off, then we don't even get to fix it. They're probably not coming back. Now, I will tell you that 5, Ted, it felt like a 0 because my heart was pounding and I'm like, oh, crap. I got to get through the lot. I got to get on the feeder. I got to get on the highway. I got to get to the next gas station inside of 5. And it's a diesel. You don't like running out of fuel on a diesel. Yeah, you can ask Ed. So Ted, I get to the filling station. It looks just like this. And so I go down the feeder, get on 75. I go south a little bit. I exit the first exit, go up the ramp, over the crossover bridge. Right there on the right is my gas station. I pull in and I'm circling. And brother, listen to this. What was the problem? What happened? I had 3 miles to empty on the screen now. And guess what it said? There is no diesel sold at this gas station.
Oh,
I've been by this gas station 100 times. I've never used them, and I'm thinking, oh, they're so close. They didn't sell diesel. So okay, so I got a U-turn on the boulevard, sitting at a stoplight, turn around, go back over the bridge, get back on 75, go south to the next exit. Now, this is not the actual picture, but this is the vibe that I had because I exit and it's one now. It's one. I'm literally counting down 5, 4, 3, 2. I'm sitting, brother. I'm sitting on one. I'm sitting. Remember, this is after the phone call, after the couple weeks. This is all part of why mobile van service, why pick up and deliver, why outbound struggles. I mean, this could become a seminar right here. I get off the feeder, I'm sitting at the light and I'm 4 deep at a red light. I need to make a right turn. So now I'm getting resourceful. I'm putting my Mother Teresa hat on, right? I put her in park again. I turn it off. Save fuel, I get through that light. I have to go up to one more light, same thing, put it in park, turn it off. I'm still at 1. I roll into that gas station and it is still saying 1 mile to empty. Now, I know there's somebody in the audience that wants to tell me that when it's 0, you still have 100 miles you can go or something. I don't know. But that's not the point. The point is, and it's probably not true, by the way. The point is, and I'm not much on Thelma and Louise either. Okay. I'm, that whole drive till she's empty kind of thing. But you get the idea. So all this pressure, all that waiting, and here we are all chasing retention. So here's what I know about retention and customers and how they think and what I've studied over the years. There's after a poor experience, there's really one of 3 things that happen. And we call it the 50-50 game, but I'm going to give you 3 50s. Okay. There's 50% roughly that are never going to use you again. Okay. Would you go back to that store, Ted?
No. However, I would have dropped
said
it off.
something.
I would have dropped it off with a little more fuel, but that's just me.
Okay. So
I'm
you're
sorry.
pushing me in the eye.
I had to come back to that, but no, I wouldn't go back. No.
50% are going to tell friends and family, hey, family,
Yes.
I guess that's me right now. I'm telling you, right? And then 50%, they're going to look for somebody's boss. Hey, are you guys kidding me? And I had the picture of the fuel when I dropped it off. It's date and time stamped in there. So there's no question, even location mapped, right? So that's what happens. Here's what I want to say today to everyone. Retention is really a game of perspective. It's a game of perspective. The question is, and you can learn that perspective by asking yourself good questions, very simple questions. Like, first of all, if you were me, if you had been me and you were in the lane, what would have your thoughts been at that point? What I didn't tell you, and I didn't get a picture of, do you remember I showed you those really nice leather seats with the white and the gray or whatever it is?
Beautiful. Yeah.
When I opened the door of my truck, the side where you slide in on had grease on it.
No. Oof.
And I'm kind of forgiving, I think. And so I was like, okay, I'll wipe that off later. And then I saw the 5, and then I'm thinking problem solve, So, but if you were the customer and you had those 2 things happen, plus what had happened, right? If you were the dealer here, now listen, the dealer is just like any vendor that's listening right now. None of us are perfect. We're all kind of screw ups. You know what I'm saying? At some level, and we're recovering. They should have a recovering screw up sort of organization. You know what I mean? But we really are. At the end of the day, we're all trying to anticipate, problem solve, prevent, and grow, getting a little bit better every day. So this could have been any one of us as a vendor, letting our dealer partner down too. So yeah, there's gaps in the process. We got to have a perspective that stays close, and you're basically looking for the friction points is what you'll find. So the question is, those that are watching, that are in the seat, whether you have a sign hanging out on the street that says you're a retailer, as you're thinking about this, do you have your boxes checked? Because most likely they'll remember the last thing more than they'll remember even the first thing.
Yes.
So I told you there were 2 words, right? There's a lot of words around retention, Ted, a lot. And so for me, I'm, there's a lot of options. That's good. But when you have a lot of words, you lack focus. And the easiest way to get focus is the old one word mentality. Get her down to one word. So I got one word and I got another one word, and I'll let you pick either one,
Okay.
or you can pick them both, but they both stand alone and they kind of sum up the perspective on retention. So here's the first word, Ted: omission. What are we omitting? What are we forgetting to check? Like, what did we forget? Are we sending these vehicles out under duress? You know what they forgot to do? An active delivery.
Mhm.
Would you agree?
I would agree.
Yeah, they would have caught it. I would have been, oh, there's only
And
5
you would
miles.
have had someone to talk to. Yeah.
Correct. I would have had somebody right there. Okay. And through the customer's eyes, you want to get in their head a little bit and go, okay, what do they see us forgetting? Like sometimes we go, well, we didn't forget that. We never promised that. Sometimes it's the list of items that said we do. It might have been wiper blades. Oh, somebody forgot that. So through their eyes, what do we forget? And then the other word that kind of goes with omission, just throw a C on the front
Mission.
and an extra M, commission. And in this case, what did we do? Well, we put grease on the seat. No extra charge, but we put grease on the seat, right? And so that was an example of, through their eyes, something we caused. To me, Ted, when you're looking at building retention solutions, you could have a prepaid maintenance program, but if we screw up at this level,
Yeah.
you understand they're already looking to burn that prepaid maintenance program and look for some Jiffy Lube or Meineke where they got one throat to choke. And we want to be excellent. So to me, the mobile van, the pickup and deliver, these are ways we can start to overcome this, make it more convenient. But when we do have cars coming in and out, hey, we got to be on top of our game. So I would just say this in closing, Ted: consider the possibility that retention really is measured in simple terms. I mean, it's as simple maybe as omission and commission. So what's that old axiom you and I heard 30 years ago, Ted? Inspect
Here it
what you
is.
expect, right? And as always, catch those calls because it'll help you load the shop. Ted, always a pleasure.
John, you have taken us through customer retention. And one of the themes that I think we're going to hear a whole lot of is the fact that a lot of this begins before the customer ever arrives on the phone. And Scott Gregg did a segment at one of the recent roundtables, and he told us about the importance of a checklist and keeping all that as part of what we do. John Traver, if our audience would like to reach out to you, because I know that the phones have never been more important as they are today, how can they get a hold of you and how can you help them?
Yeah, traverconnect.com. We're trying to help you make that connection. Whether you want to do it at the store
Okay.
or you want us to do it for and with you, both of those work. So yeah, thanks for that, Ted. Great show. Looking forward to this strong fall as we all finish out 2022 together.
John Traver, everybody, does so much for our industry. Traver Connect is a huge resource, works with so many of the fixed ops roundtable dealers, and has done so since the early days of the roundtable. John, on behalf of the fixed ops community, thank you so much for everything that you do.
Our pleasure. Thank you, Ted.
John Traver here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.